Welcome to the Efficientpreneur Show with Ahmed Al-Karemli, where you learn how to build and scale your business profitability online with less time, effort, and cost, so you can enjoy a fulfilling lifestyle.
Hi everyone, AK here, and welcome to the Efficientpreneur Show. Today I have with me Rachel Feldman. She is Feldman, right?
Yeah.
And she is a health coach and she is a business coach for health coaches. Welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. And as we were talking about right before recording, these interviews excite me so much because I know building a business, whether you're a solo entrepreneur or you have a team, can be really confusing and overwhelming.
No worries. So what's your story? How did you start in this space of health coaching?
Yeah, that's a little, I always say, is this like a 7-day long interview or do I have to keep this really short?
1 hour.
I'll keep it
maximum.
Yes, I'll give you the short story. And of course, if anybody wants to, see the longer one, they can go to my site after. I was, the typical person in this world where there's a myriad of maybe health issues, some at the level maybe 1, others maybe at the level 10, but still you think that they're normal. The typical rashes, hives, stomach issues, belly issues, you eat and maybe you feel off. That started to escalate as I got older. I was a competitive swimmer from the time I was 3 until 15. And I just started feeling off. It never stopped me. I was what you call the typical gym rat. I'm a doer, hence, that being the entrepreneur type. And then I went off to college. And at 18, I got asthma, which led me to be on about 4 different medications. And I remember turning to my mom when I was about 22 and saying, I feel like I'm dying. And it's not something a mom wants to hear. And, she just said, why don't we go, and go to a bunch of different doctors, which I'd also done when I was 14. I had a ulcer, they realized, which at that time, again, same thing. You take a pill. At that time, the hottest pill out was Prilosec, and it fixed the problem. At that time, it was, the Band-Aid, and it was great. It was fine. It continued to allow me to live my life. Fast forward again to, the time that I graduated and I entered commercial real estate, which was always what I wanted to do. I lived in Philadelphia. I grew up in the city. So growing up around these beautiful, gorgeous buildings, and I know I didn't want to go into residential. I wanted to help people to create financial freedom for them and sell buildings. They were beautiful. To me, that was creating art. So at the, start of my career, and I got into that career with a lot of zest, and made money really fast. And I turned to my mom again and said, okay, I'm really sick. And so we were very fortunate because we were in Philly and there was Jefferson and University of Pennsylvania, amazing hospitals, Hahnemann, and I went to a number of them, and despite amazing doctors, so I never say doctors aren't great. I always say east meets west, and you have to find an in between, but tests were coming up inconclusive. They had known that I had, of course, had that ulcer years ago. And it was actually my boss at my commercial brokerage firm that said, I know this chiropractor about 45 minutes out of town. Why don't you go and do a testing with him? $8,000 later in tests, he turned to me and said, you have adrenal fatigue, you have liver stress, you have heavy metals, which I've never seen this amount, and you're pretty much a hot mess. So I said to him, great, well, I've just done all these tests with you. Do you have a book or do you have some supplements that you can suggest that I can go to Vitamin Shop or some of these other places and get educated? And he said, no, here's this one protocol. I looked at him and said, so how much is that going to be? And he gave me another number, and I just got in my car and said, this should not be how the health industry is. I drove back into the city crying and drove into Fresh Fields, which is now Whole Foods, with tears. And the woman who had, of course, known me, and she said, "Oh my goodness, what's going on? Why are you crying?" And I told her just the story, which I think is really everyone's story. That led me down a path of walking around with a bag full of supplements and a journey, which I believe many take. But I believe many are left feeling disempowered, they give up, they stay sick, and it gets worse. For me, I was fortunate because I did not stop at "I don't know." I just kept searching and asking questions. And eventually, later down the road, I said to my husband, after actually my second child, I said, "That's it. I have to leave commercial real estate. And I have to pursue what I know I was meant to do, because there was a reason I got sick and had pylori and Clostridia and parasites and all these fun things that nobody wants to talk about. But I have to, because there's somebody else suffering like myself." And that is the short story that led me to say I have to pursue this job that doesn't really have a blueprint path for how do you start a wellness business.
And then you started, after it worked for you, you started becoming a health coach for what exactly? Like, does that include fitness as well, or just health? And this episode is brought to you by the Efficientpreneur Club. The Efficientpreneur Club is a private and affordable one-on-one business coaching club for business owners and entrepreneurs who want to build and scale their business profitability and performance with less time, effort, and cost, and without risking their freedom. So whether you are still figuring out the right business model, strategy, and pricing, or you need help to improve your funnels, ads, sales, and conversion, then the Efficientpreneur Club is for you. Your business challenges are not going to fix themselves unless you fix them today. And the consequences of not addressing that today is your business profitability and performance will not improve, and your relationships and health will continue to be affected. It's no wonder that building and scaling a business becomes so stressful over time, but it doesn't have to be that way. The Efficientpreneur Club will help you take your business to the next level with a private and affordable one-on-one coaching with me personally, tailored to your unique needs. I will help you clarify your direction, set a strategic action plan, and guide you step by step to build and scale your business efficiently. The Efficientpreneur Club will also provide access to an extensive how-to video library, the most highly recommended tools, and a supportive community of like-minded business owners to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement, and advice. The Efficientpreneur Club is the perfect place to be if you want to maximize your profits, minimize your workload, and scale your freedom and efficiency. So check it out at efficientpreneurclub.com and say bye-bye to generic courses, secretive gurus, and expensive mentors. What kind of diseases
So because my story was pretty clear, I had autoimmune, it was digestive issues, it was food. I mean, it was a myriad of different issues. But what I did here in school is get clear about who you want to work with. I didn't understand what that meant, because as anyone knows, even in other businesses, there is kind of a template. You most often have an office manager. I worked for a huge commercial real estate firm that was nationwide. So we had, a manager, and we had team meetings, and we would role play. So even though that's an individually driven business, there still was some kind of template. When I started my health and wellness business, it was get to know your target market, find out who you're serving. But it was still kind of up in the air.
This question of find your audience is very simple, and it's very complex. It can make you waste years and years and years because of that simple question.
And not only does it waste years, but it wastes so much money. Because what happens is, and I'll answer your question specifically, and then I'll tell you what I see the mistakes happening, is my path was really clear. I had an autoimmune that came up in the later time. I knew that there were digestive issues. I knew what my path was. And I was also very clear about my story. I think one of the biggest mistakes that health and wellness professionals make is they don't look at their story first. They jump right away to, I have to go to this course, I have to go to this school, I have to nail down my niche. Nailing down your niche is an important step. Knowing your target audience is. But we often go so right brain in that. Analytics are really important. Testing is really important. But if you don't know your own story and you haven't owned it, you'll live in imposter syndrome forever. And we can define imposter syndrome really simple. It's that you feel that you haven't fixed yourself, so how can you help others? So then we jump to another place where we say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to work with this person because I haven't fixed myself. Well, the truth is, when there's an autoimmune, or even when there's mindset issues, or even when there's weight loss, we're never fully fixed. That is the journey in life. And so in the health and wellness industry, to be an entrepreneur, it's to understand we don't ever come to this fixed place. We understand that we've gone through a path. We're saving somebody the pain. We're saving somebody the pain of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we've been there. And so we can take that and we can say to somebody, I went through A, B, and C, and you don't have to go through that. And so when I came into this business, I realized my target market was people just like me. I didn't even say just moms. I kept it really simple. I was like, there is somebody suffering with exactly what I had: ulcerative colitis, food allergies, overwhelm about where to start, gut issues. And I wrote them all down. And so for anyone listening, write down first what you struggled with. Don't even go to the niche. Don't even overcomplicate it. Write it down. Then when you're clear about what the problems were, write down, what did you want solved when you were experiencing that? Does that help?
So how about if someone is not having issues with that, but they basically, that's what they know. So I mean, that's their skills. That's what they know. They should teach what they know. So how do you differentiate that between like what they know and versus what they experienced as pain?
So I always say, and I have a lot of coaches say, well, I don't have a story. And I always say, look, Tony Robbins says you have a million stories. It's just whichever one is running, your show today. I think even if you didn't have what I call the Debbie Downer story, something in the world is upsetting you. Something motivated you to become a fitness coach. Something motivated you to work with people to better their mindset. And it doesn't even have to be in health. You could work with people to better their mindset so they make more money. You could work with people to improve their mindset so they have better relationships. Health doesn't just have to be nutrition. So I always say,
sorry to cut you off. For the story, like for the story is like, do you have a specific, expert in like to write the story for you, or you give it to a copywriter, or what exactly you do with it?
That's a good question. That's actually a phenomenal question. I always say, what happened? What was life like? What dropped you to your knees that made you say, I have to teach this. I have to explain to people that they don't have to experience or witness this pain. And then where did you go to get this certification or this qualification, and how do you teach other people? So no, your business is not about you. Your business is about helping other people, but it is that story that helps somebody to identify, because in the health and wellness industry, when we're talking branding, people have to identify with you. It's not tangible. It's not like me saying, I'm creating a website for you here. Let me show you this, example. Let
No,
me
I
show you the
understood that, but
website.
like, okay, they identified the story. Do you recommend someone that they work with to write for them the story and like listen to them, interview them, and then write it for them in a way that it's more professional or like, you know?
I do always, 100%. But what I always say to coaches in the beginning is that you have to first know what motivated you. You have to know your why first. And I don't mean your why like, oh, I just want to help the world get to a better place. You really have to know. For a lot of people, it wasn't their own struggle like me. It was that they witnessed their parents overweight. They witnessed their father have a heart attack. Or maybe they're just angry that the school system provides really crappy food for their child. Something is not in alignment with the system. And so that is what motivated them to step into the health and wellness industry, to stand up and rage against the system. So they have to know that. And so their story comes from that. So instead of hiring a copywriter from anywhere from 500 to 1,000 a page to write that about me, and sometimes even more, really do this exercise first of writing down what frustrates you. What do you want to teach people? Even take time to interview yourself or do a video. One of the exercises I tell people all the time is, you know, interview yourself and do it whether it's on your phone or QuickTime or iMovie and talk for 10 minutes. Even take that and get the transcript, which is so inexpensive. And have the transcript done so you actually hear what you're saying. Or ask a friend, you know, hey, can you write down while I'm speaking some key things I said? Because too often an entrepreneur, there's so many moving parts when we start a business that you'll come to somebody's page and it will say, I just want to help people feel better. And I want to help people have more energy. I think, well,
It's very,
yeah.
it doesn't work because it's generic.
And it's not specific. So if I say I want to help people who have more energy because they are struggling in this corporate mayhem world where they have to do dog and pony shows, then you're getting specific. Or that you help, you know, busy moms that are struggling, you know, in their day to balance work and life. It's a little more specific. But we have to start with your story first. And also, how does that story relate to your life? It's very hard to sell something and sell, I always call it like soul sales. It's very hard to sell something if there's not any aspect that I relate to. Even though autoimmune and digestive health were part of my story, I worked with a ton of athletes. And people would say, well, that wasn't part of your niche. But I always said, well, but that was part of my story. I grew up being a competitive swimmer. I was a gym rat. So I identified with that person who was an athlete. I always believe when you niche, it's to help that person who is coming to your website, which you have anywhere from 3 to 15 seconds to grab their attention, or on social media, or on an opt-in freebie, or on a podcast, anywhere where they're seeing you.
So first story, then niche, then message or avatar?
Story, then your target audience. That target audience is a very broad. You know, I help people with their autoimmune.
Again, story, then?
Story, then target audience.
Okay.
And then from your target audience, because that's really a group of people. That's a big group of people. I want to help people with energy. Or I want to help people, you know, who are addicted to sugar. I want to help people who have digestive issues. Then we go to your niche. So then you're thinking...
Let's stay at the avatar. What's the difference between an avatar and a buying avatar?
So your avatar, when you go to your niche and you're saying, I want to work with people who have autoimmune, within that are these different types of people. So I could work with people who have autoimmune issues. In that avatar, I could work with busy moms who have an autoimmune. One avatar could be this busy mom who has an autoimmune who is an A-type personality. She's really driven. She is a go-getter. And she's going to be a very different personality than the busy mom who has an autoimmune who's a stay-at-home mom. Two completely different types of people. Then I have a busy mom who has an autoimmune, and she is a stay-at-home mom, and now she's trying to get back into the corporate world. These are all different kinds of messages. Remember, people don't buy programs, people buy the message. People don't opt in, they buy the message in front of the opt-in freebie.
But do you provide, like, if those two people are within your target audience, then what do? You make for them different courses, different programs, or you just pick one and focus on?
The biggest thing, and when you think of even yourself buying, and take it out even of the health, because sometimes we can get so overwhelmed in our own industry, it's really the message that somebody attaches to. So somebody attaches either to a physical message, a spiritual, or an emotional.
So what is the message? Like, I help X do Y, or what is the message? What do you mean by the message?
So that's actually more like the pitch, like I help people who do X, Y. If I'm speaking to a busy mom who's corporate, it's more that I go into the pain points. So knowing your avatar and what avatar work. So first, let me just go first. First, it's your story, and you really nail down what happened to you. What were your own pain points? I had a client actually yesterday, and she was like, oh my goodness, I've spent $15,000 with coaches, and no one's ever done this with me. I said, tell me your story. She started to cry. She was like, I didn't want to even think of this pain. I said, how do you think you would get clients? So as she started to say, I remember this. I was typing, writing this down. Then I said, okay, I want you to think about what you want to say to this buyer. And all of a sudden, she was like, I want to help women who are struggling with. I want to help really, really, brilliant women who feel that they don't have the confidence to show up because they don't have the self-worth. They feel a lack of empowerment because they've been told that they were fat. They were told that they were not enough. They were told they shouldn't shop at this one place because they don't have the clothes to fit them. All of a sudden, then this person nails down who their target, not just their target audience, their niche, but it's also different avatars. This is where the avatar comes in. That woman might be this woman who feels really confident and she's overweight. And that's a different message. I'm speaking at, hey, I know you feel like really confident about yourself, really beautiful. You are. But you may want to lose this weight because you want to have a baby and you want to be really healthy during this pregnancy. That another avatar of this same niche who is feeling so sad because she walked into the store and the woman said, excuse me, you can't shop here because you're really fat and we don't have sizes for you. The message to her is, you deserve to shop anywhere. You are beautiful. And I have a step-by-step program that works on emotional eating, binge eating, and all the stressors that have led you because somebody in your life told you at one time you weren't enough. It is your birthright to shop anywhere. It is your birthright to be loved. It is your birthright to feel that confidence. Then there's another one.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Then there's another woman with a totally different message. Those are your different avatars. And their buyer personalities is what makes them identified. Each one of them gets pulled for a different reason. Coaches think that if they just put up one opt-in freebie, it's going to attract everyone. It's going to attract each person. It's not true. Somebody might, the woman who she doesn't feel she even has a problem, or he is going to be attracted to that opt-in freebie because you say.
That's the question that I wanted to ask. Like, do you face like some people that are worried to go so narrow that it's so small? So basically, you keep the message a bit more wide or general, and then with the lead magnets, you try to narrow it down to those three different avatars, or you recommend to narrow it down from the beginning, from the message.
I think and I think this also depends on the kind of coach. I think keeping a simple format in business until you've gotten to a place where people are opting in, and you have nailed down the formula in that sense. Because when you really think about your business, even for you as an entrepreneur, I guarantee you can think about 100 different avatars. Am I correct?
Correct, especially in the business. I focus on business coaching, and it's so wide, And I have experiences with franchise and with online and offline businesses, so it's really very difficult to just say that I am just this,
It's the same in health and wellness.
So basically, you keep it generic in the message, and then in the lead magnets, you try to separate them, or what do you advise?
I would say, just like in business, and it's really not a different formula. For the new coach who's watching, keep it simple. Keep that formula simple. When you're then feeling comfortable because people are opting in. If they're not opting in, you need to take that same opt-in freebie and say, I'm going to create about 5 different covers for this with different messages, because there's somebody who buys based on like a stat, like the number one reason people are dying because they're overweight. There's another person who's like, 5 reasons that you have no sex drive because you are overweight. I mean, everyone is pulled in to change their life for a different reason. It's the same when we are in business. We see a Facebook ad and we're like, oh, the perfect funnel, that is going to optimize my business. It's no different in health and wellness. The thing we have to remember in health and wellness is we are pulled because our heart is pulled. We are pulled because somebody is talking and says, I remember watching, my father have a heart attack. This is the number one reason I teach today about not having diabetes or not. It's somebody, then a memory is triggered. So when a coach is starting out, you have to nail down that simple formula. When you're up leveling, you have about 20 different opt-in freebies where they're leading them. And the different buyer personalities is more about, are the people you're attracted to right for a program? Is it a short program? I have tons of coaches who say, I only have people who love 14, 21 day. Corporate, they're busy. They feel like, I don't even know what's happening next month. I love this. Or do they love courses? Do they love self-paced? Do they love do-it-yourself? Are they the person that loves a membership? So the buyer personality.
So it's not like a specific membership or course that works. It depends on the avatar and what do they really prefer.
And it depends also on the age. So just like when we say avatar, I call it Jane, Jack, and Sally. And that's, again, we're taking this into very simple specifics for this talk because it's 60 minutes. If you're in business, and you've been in business for long enough, you have tons of avatars. I always say in your life, think of 100 friends you have. Those are 100 different avatars. They're all different kinds of personalities. They have different problems, complaints, and different desires. Those are avatars. Who do they admire? What drives them to buy a car? This kind of car. What drives them to buy? It's their needs. So it's the same when we bring it into our health and wellness business. The different buyer personalities is also so you don't leave money on the table. You might have somebody who in the health and wellness industry has a one-on-one business. Guess what? Not everyone is the right fit for a one-on-one business. One, they might be more private. They might need to build more trust with you before they hire you to tell you about. Or they might be what I call the CrossFitter. They just love being in a group. They love doing marathons. They love the transference. But when they build that trust, they're going to say to you, I didn't want to say this in a group. I needed to really, trust you more, but I'm having a lot of XYZ problems. And I know you talked about that before because I heard you on this YouTube video talking about that, but I just wasn't comfortable to share that with you.
Then you take them to the one-on-one.
As we get more comfortable with knowing on a strategy call or on an evergreen webinar or in our funnels, as we are more vulnerable, that is the whole point about feeding into our different buyer personalities. And not just our buyer personalities, our avatars, because when we think even about list building, this is a perfect example. Some people are great with a PDF. Some people need a video series. Some people need a combination of both because we are audio and visual. Some people want just a podcast because they love seeing week to week what you're sharing. Some people need to see a social media images because they're very visual. Everyone learns in a different capacity and everyone builds trust.
But with all of these, like different avatars and different platforms to pitch the avatars, it will be very difficult to identify if you want to test all of them. So how do you guide your students to focus on one avatar with one platform before jumping into something else?
Well, I always say first, take a step back and keep it simple, because if you really look at yourself in the mirror, you are your avatar. I mean, you're not, most of the time when we say, oh my goodness, that client was a pain in the behind, they're not your right fit. And we all have that, especially in the beginning parts of our business, because we're not clear. We're not clear about who we serve, who is the best fit for us. We're not clear on a sales page. And so we don't attract that ideal person. So really knowing the ideal client is knowing exactly their pain points, knowing what they do on a daily basis, knowing what they need. I tell people, one, tell me where you hang out. Do you hang out on Facebook? Where do you search? Do you go to Google? Do you go to YouTube? I personally go to YouTube. I love for ideas, I go to Pinterest. If I'm looking for recipes, I go to Pinterest. If I'm looking for how to do something, I search Google right away. So then I tell people, now I want you to reverse engineer from that. If you're not going to Twitter to find out information, please don't spend your time on Twitter. If you don't buy from Instagram, please go and just have a profile, maybe for knowing that you're building authority and you're building relationships for influence. If you're buying from Facebook, if you're buying from an ad on Facebook, if you are finding somebody on Google, please look at the best relationships Google has. Facebook business page, YouTube, and start blogging and making sure that you're using free resources. If you're not spending time on LinkedIn, so I always tell people, look at their own behaviors because we can't be everywhere.
Yeah, because also when they look at the platform and use it, they know how, because they use it, they know how people interact with the platform and they know how to pitch on that platform.
I think the hardest thing that we are experiencing in this time and age, which wasn't the case when I started my wellness business 10 years ago, is we have so many platforms, so many social media avenues, so many talks about opt-in freebies, different lead magnets, and it's overwhelming. So I tell people this: define your story, know what were your pain points. People don't buy solutions, people buy pain. So don't say things like, I help people to feel good. If you're mind, body, green, you can say that. If your food matters, you can say that. If you're Gabby Bernstein, you can say that, because they've evolved their brand, but they paid their dues. So the more specific you can get, such as when I experienced being addicted to sugar, I felt like a failure. I, was waking up eating a donut every morning and hiding it. And I thought that my, kids were going to see me doing it. That's the last thing I wanted. That even in it of itself has about 10 different pain points in it. The biggest thing that we've stepped away from is authenticity. We think if we talk about 5 ways to quit sugar, everyone says that. Talk about what you feel. Talk about the things other people aren't talking about. Talk about the fact that, when you're addicted to sugar, the blood sugar imbalances and the lack of, and the problems that you have when you sleep, and your sex drive and your hair falling out and your skin looking like crap. Because what people really want at the end of the day is what? To look good, to have energy, great poop. They don't want to have wrinkles. It's kind of basic, but we live in a world where we're going to stage 4, and yet everyone has forgot the fundamentals because we live in a world with so much information.
We talked about story, the audience, the message, and then is there a pitch, or the message is the pitch as steps?
So that's where everyone always says, what should I say for my elevator pitch? And, I did that in year 1 and 2, and I did struggle. I made $13,000. I'm very open about what I made. I made $13,000 year 1. I thought I would come out and leave commercial real estate from a multiple 6-figure business and it would be easy. And it wasn't. I was selling myself. And even though I did that in commercial real estate, I was selling something tangible, a building. And so I did that. I work with people who are struggling with digestive issues, and I help them, and it was not clear. When I started saying, I help people
Which
who
year
have
was that?
Year 1. And year 2, I did that.
Which year in the like 2000, if you want to mention that.
We're in 2019, so that was 2000.
Okay.
And 2001, I did the same thing. It wasn't until I said, I'm either going to quit and go back to commercial real estate, or I have to get really specific. And I thought I was. But what I was doing was what everyone else was doing. And this is something, it's really important. I can say all the other stuff. But if you're doing what everyone else is doing, nobody's going to stop. Nobody's going to stop at a social media. Nobody's going to stop on your YouTube video. So what I started to say is, I help people who are extremely overwhelmed. I help people who are suffering with mystery illnesses. They're overwhelmed with the information out there. They don't know what to eat. They're living in a dogmatic diet world, and they are frustrated. I was one of those people. I help people who are struggling with an autoimmune and are scared that
people who are overwhelmed is not generic. Did work for you, or what happened?
Well, that was my pitch. I help people who are overwhelmed with knowing how to navigate the autoimmune dance, knowing how to get themselves better from ulcerative colitis, food allergies, and I just listed it. Because the truth is that somebody wasn't looking for a digestive wellness expert. Somebody wasn't looking for a detox expert. I went to 4 schools. Somebody wasn't looking for a weight loss expert. Somebody was looking for somebody where most of us are. We were a jack of many trades because we experienced every one of them. When somebody would call me and say, I can't believe it, I heard your story. They didn't find me and say, wow, I was really impressed and hired you because you're a digestive wellness expert. I had clients who came to me from some of my teachers and mentors, and I was shocked. I sat there on the phone call and I would actually say, why are you hiring me? And they say, because you went through what I went through. And you're the only person that I've ever heard experience what I went through. So I want you to think about it, even for those of you watching. When you hire someone, are you hiring somebody who actually built their business and did it? Or are you hiring the person who gave the beautiful dog and pony show and is promising you unicorn poop and everything other and glitter? Or do you hire, and maybe you made that mistake because I did, and I have, or do you hire the person who said, you know what, I built a business with zero money in my pocket and went to here. I hired the person for my health who was able to fix their health issue. And even in my own health journey, when I was still navigating it, I was able to say, look, I had a myriad of different health issues, but what I can promise you is, one, I'm not going to lie to you and say that digestive issues are fixed in 6 months. What I can promise you is this: I'm going to teach you the tools that you need to be empowered so you can detoxify your body, so you can be armed with the questions you need to ask your doctor, know the tests you need to be, getting, and also know the people that you need to also hire so you aren't disempowered in life. And the good news is you're going to fire me after about 2 months because I'm going to give you everything you need.
Okay, so we talked about all these 4 stages. Then what, the systems or tools, or we talk about marketing and sales now? What would you like to talk about? If you have enjoyed today's episode, I would like to invite you to check out efficientpreneurclub.com. The Efficientpreneur Club is the right membership for you if you've been working to grow your business for a while now and things aren't happening as fast as you want. If you are tired of generic courses, secretive gurus, and expensive mentors who charge $2,000 to $5,000 a month, then fob you off onto sub-coaches or connect with you in group coaching calls. If you are already stressed out about your business model, sales, productivity, team, and systems. If you are scrambling in the evenings and on the weekends and you never have time for yourself and your family. Those problems are not going to fix themselves unless you fix them today. Why? Because your business profitability and performance are not going to change unless you do, and your relationships and health will continue to be affected. Building and scaling a business becomes so stressful over time, but it doesn't have to be that way. The Efficientpreneur Club is a private and affordable one-on-one business coaching club for business owners and entrepreneurs who want to build and scale their business profitability and performance with less time, effort, and cost, and without risking their freedom. The Efficientpreneur Club will help you take your business to the next level with a private and affordable individual coaching with me personally. I tailor the program to your unique needs. I will help you clarify your direction, set a strategic action plan, and guide you step by step to build and scale your business efficiently. The Efficientpreneur Club will also provide access to an extensive how-to video library, the most highly recommended tools, and a supportive community of like-minded business owners to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement, and advice. The Efficientpreneur Club is the perfect place to be if you want to maximize your profits, minimize your workload, and scale your freedom and efficiency. So check it out at efficientpreneurclub.com and say bye-bye to generic courses, secretive gurus, and expensive mentors.
I would say one is nailing down the confident. It's your story, it's owning it. Because I know I see so many coaches, they course hop, they go to the next thing because they don't believe they can do it. They believe there needs to be another certification,
we got that. So it's a story, the target audience, the message, the pitch, and then what kind of, let's say, tools do you recommend, like, people to market themselves online as health coaches to use?
I would say that most definitely, even in the beginning, you need to definitely have your email marketing system. And I would say starting out, please do not go, and I love all of these from Entreport to Infusionsoft to ActiveCampaign, but I really think in the beginning, when you're not making money, look at Aweber, MailerLite, or MailChimp. Okay. Number 2 is to get your system in place, meaning And I don't mean just system like Google Drive, Dropbox, Trello, Teamwork, or Asana. Have your system in place, meaning what do you offer? What is the system for success that you took that you're going to take your clients through? And I hear a lot of coaches say, well, I don't know. The truth is you do know because you did it for yourself. And if you don't know, get clear about that.
So it's the offer. What's your offer?
Yes. And build your home. Don't just wait and say, I'm going to build my website later. And this is what you were saying earlier about to hire a copywriter. You can go and build on Squarespace. They have beautiful templates right away. This is your testing phase. So Squarespace, Wix, or Weebly, I would say before you make any decision, I would say Squarespace is probably my favorite because it has a lot of capabilities that Wix and Weebly don't. Or go and hire somebody to do a starter WordPress. And I say starter because in the beginning, you don't necessarily know what you're going to need. And you need a home, about, work with me, maybe online services or online program shop, blog, so you can build your search engine optimization, but you're not necessarily going to know what membership. I see a lot of coaches spend $2,000 to $4,000, $5,000, and then do it again about a year later because they jump right away and say, well, this is who I'm going to work with. Go and test first. I'd rather you have 5 opt-in freebies and test them. If you don't know how to create an opt-in page, guess what? Go to lead pages first, $25 a month. If you want to do ClickFunnels, great, $99 a month for 20 funnels. You can be smart in your testing phase. And again, think of common problems. Remember, it's not the program. Any program, any niche can be messaged properly. It's you they buy. So, think about the common problems everyone has. It's your email marketing. You have to collect emails, even if you're working offline. If you go to a workshop, you're not going to just individually email everyone. So you want to have your email marketing. If you're tech deficient, hire somebody, outsource. Your time equity is as important. So it's your email marketing. You want to make sure that you do have something like Dropbox for delivering programs, delivering an opt-in freebie. And the testing phase is so important. Before you build out a course, build out an entire program, look at 7-day, 14, 21-day programs. That's a gateway program. This is the entry program. This is your testing program. And then plan out your stage, your process, the next place they're going to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. You talk about how health coaches can build authority with free tools. What do you recommend for that?
I love, this is where I talked about earlier, where you don't know how people, and funnel hacking isn't just replicating or modeling somebody else's funnel. It's really getting to know your own specific niche. Who do you attract? How do they like to process information? So I always say 5 opt-in freebies. Now it sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's 5 different messages. Let's take digestion, for example. You don't know if that person is looking for, one on hormones. You don't need to be a hormone expert to say the 5 top foods for, getting your hormones back. It's still related to digestive health. 1 on hormones, 1 on sugar, 1 on anti-aging, 1 on beauty, and 1 on weight loss.
And then you take them to what? You take them to a strategy call, or what happens after they opt in for the lead magnet?
You can lead them to a strategy call. You can have 2 emails. Of course, they opt in. They're going to get the welcome letter, which says, hey, thanks so much for downloading. That is going to be the PDF. But that could also be a landing page that has a video. Because what is the conversion? What converts people? Trust. So you could have a great video there that says, I want to thank you for downloading. And I also want to give you a tip on how I lost weight. I'm not a weight loss coach. I'm a digestive health coach. But if you don't have great bacteria, healthy bacteria, you're going to have weight gain. So give them a great tip. And then say, and when you open up tomorrow's email, you're going to get another gift. Because in the world of email marketing, who opens an email? They open it if you're giving them something else. You can lead them to a PS and a call. And on the next day, say, hey, why don't we hop on a call because my client had this great result. So you're not only building trust in that video, but you're leading them to another email where a PS has a one-on-one. And on that next day, you're also giving them a little, social proof. And that social proof, guess what, guys? Even if you're a new coach and you have no clients, find 5 friends. Everyone starts with no list. Find 5 friends. Give them an opt-in freebie. Give them a mini program and say, please, I'm starting out my business. 10 would be ideal. This is how everyone starts. We start somewhere. You will see the best of the best have what? They most often have their clients and their friends as testimonials. Take the time to build your confidence. Get people on the phone. You will only know what people want if what? You do a 20-minute interview, even with your friends. Find out what are their pain problems. And then you turn pain into your freebies. But yes, I would suggest.
Then you ask for testimonials, like from them.
Oh yeah, ask for testimonials. Ask for them even to shout you out on Facebook and tag you and say, wow, I just did this amazing 7-day program. I had this result. And get people on the phone because there is nothing. No funnel can replicate you actually getting somebody on the phone and having just one-on-one interaction with them, because you will hear somebody's problem. We can think, and marketing, as you know, is an assumption. We can have a program. We can have an amazing work with me page, but when you get somebody on the phone and they say 10 times sugar, I'm addicted to sugar, I feel so stressed, all I eat is sugar, but you know that they've got a myriad of other issues, well, of course you're going to say, I've got this great, program. My 30-day jumpstart really focuses on sugar. And you're going to backdoor these other areas that are, of course, going to help them get off sugar. So remember, guys, marketing isn't just about nailing down this one message. And that's why when you hear me talk about these different things, it may seem like I'm not telling you to niche down. What I'm telling you is people are not just a book. If they were a book, they'd buy a book. They are human. They are different. Everyone has a different constitution. Everyone has a different life. Everyone has different stressors. And the goal for you is to make assumptions about these different avatars, to make assumptions, to watch your analytics. If you have a post, you want to watch, did it do well? You want to also see what other people are doing. Don't compare and don't steal, but you want to watch what's trending in the world. How can it relate to the story that you're telling? What topics are you talking about? And that's why it's so important to test always. The best of the best, even those who are very, very successful, test constantly to see what their ideal client or even what their audience likes, because your audience is always changing just like you.
For health coaches who doesn't have a budget for Facebook ads, what do you advise them to do to get more clients?
This is how I started my business, and this is how I got on one of my favorite podcasts, other than yours, is John Lee Dumas, because I started my business with zero money in the pocket. And I committed to doing a video a week. My inspiration years ago was Marie Forleo, and I said, okay, Marie Forleo and Fabian Fredrickson are 2 women who are doing videos and nobody else is doing them. So I did videos. I did 1 to 2 a week on the benefits of lemon water, the benefits of cranberry water, the benefit of everything, how to have better poops, how to have better skin. So I suggest doing videos on YouTube. I suggest doing a live a day. I don't care if you're scared. I seem like an extrovert, but I'm not. I'm an introvert. I had a fear of public speaking. You have to get over yourself if you want to have a successful business. And even, guys, the best of Facebook ads, if you can't show up and you can't speak and you can't articulate in a great way when that person calls you, you're not going to sell anyway. So one Facebook video, one Facebook Live a day, it's called practice. 2, you can double dip and you can do an Instagram Live. Again, this is the testing process, and you're going to have to pay your dues in the beginning. Don't burn yourself into adrenal fatigue, but you're going to have to see where people are. So you have a Facebook business page, which shows up great for Google relationship. You can do a live there. Again, these are all free. Blogs, search engine optimization, I always say double dip. You can do that Facebook Live, download it, upload that to YouTube, and you've just killed 2 birds with 1 stone. You can even keep it under 8 minutes on a Facebook Live, really strategic. You could even do it one where you do a PowerPoint and you're actually showing just like 3 steps. Keep it under 8 minutes, upload that to IGTV. This is all free. So there is no reason when people say I don't have the money, I always say there is Eventbrite, that is free. There's Squarespace, that is free. You have to keep it simple and stay in your own lane, stay out of keeping up with the Joneses. I did workshops, low-cost workshops, did Eventbrite, charged $20. Guess what? If you get 10 people, it's a numbers game. 10 people, that's 200. Dropbox is free. Google Doc is free. You can, send materials. Canva is free. There are so many free ways that you can use your materials. Even if you go to my site, there's a 4-day reboot. Guess what? Sell it for $10. Host a cooking workshop. There is no excuse not to make money in your business. The only thing that will stop you from making money is that you're comparing yourself to somebody else. That's it.
With Facebook ads, if there is a budget for Facebook ads, what kind of funnels that's working with your clients or with you? Like, is it strategy calls, tripwire, others?
Yeah, I think I love funnels. I mean, I love making funnels. I love funnel hacking. I love when you get really into upsells and downsells. But I would say if you're a new coach, you want to first, before you even get into Facebook ads, test to see what people are actually downloading from you. And that could be one freebie, test 3 different covers, make it in Canva. So first you want to test the process. Then from that, number 2 is then you take that opt-in freebie that people, I always love, opt them into a PDF and 3 videos. You're teach somebody. In a world of mass information, knowledge and a free course is amazing. So that, again, builds trust. So I like to actually tell people, bring somebody in a course or bring somebody into a high value and get them onto it. And when I say high value, 7-day, then bring them to a one-on-one, talk with you, especially if you're a new coach. You want to get somebody on a one-on-one call and have a big landing page that says, hop on a one-on-one call with me. It's free.
It works. It's very effective, but strategy calls very, very effective. But because yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry. But the issue is, it's math-wise, if you're not selling something above maybe $1,000, it's not so efficient so or like. So do you outsource the calls? Do you have you tried that? Does that work for you, or you just try to lower prices, try to sell through webinars or other stuff?
Well, this is what I was going to say is if you're a new coach, and I try to always think about the new coach and the coach who's making money. New coach, get somebody on a call. It's worth your time because that 20-minute call, you will convert. I love webinars. I have clients, who sell anything from $1,000 course to $5,000 or doing retreats. That one-on-one call is worth it as well. If you find that you can have people with sales teams, I find for a lot of people, unless your sales team is really similar to your ideology and belief, they're not the greatest converters. So I find if you have a sales team, let them warm up and then you close it down. But my favorite are really evergreen webinars. And I would say this is for the seasoned coach, because you want to bring them in from a great, what I call the Todd Herman or James Wedmore style, 3 videos, teach them, get them warmed up, really create value so that by the time they watch that pre-recorded video, they have fallen in love with you. They know you are the real deal. You've given them value. You've taught them. You've given them maybe a 2 or 3 page PDF fillable workbook. And then they've come to the webinar and they're ready. That's when I feel that either you, so if your time is worth it and you want to get on a phone call, great. But I like having a sales page that is replay page that is very well constructed, where the replay is at the top, they watch, and you say, buy here. And you have either deadline.
Replay for the webinar, you mean?
And you have a time, you have deadline funnel or a timer that says, act fast, here's a 20% coupon. You're giving incentive. You have bonuses that are on that page, and it says buy. You're going to have, maybe 40% that buy. You're going to have the other that are on the fence and they're confused and they need to get on the phone. But if $30 and you have an average of $500 off being your product, $30, 30 minutes of your time, if you're converting and you have down sells that are either bringing them to a membership or a lower cost, you know that you're building trust in that downsell, and they will what? They are in your funnel now. I mean, they were already in your funnel, but now they're in your buying funnel. And then you're going to lead them into a path where they're happy at that tripwire or that membership, and now they are going to be taught. Okay, so you're happy here. Yeah, how's this working for you? You just bought this 7-day program that you're going to sell a tripwire. I'm not going to teach you what you're going to do. Now you need your $500 product or your $397 product. And then they're going to go down the path to build their what? Their wellness business. So whatever business this is, it's the same process that is applicable. I love webinars live. It depends on the person. I am a live webinar kind of person. I think that teaching webinars are great, but I am more about the 3-part mini course that goes to a webinar that they are taught and then leads them down a cycle where there's 4.
So it's not a direct registration. You do 3 videos before they register for the webinar.
Yep, and this is after me doing webinars since teleclasses back then, but I've been doing this since 2010. And I do find that in this world where there are so many different techniques, you have to be really clear with conviction on your technique. And my technique is I don't believe that there is just this one way to build a business. And that is where that signature business comes in. Are you better online? Are you better offline? Are you better doing retreats? Are you better in a membership platform? And that's different for everyone. And that's in the health and wellness business. I have people who, they only do memberships and they have, 200 people a month. I have people who do, twice a year, multiple 6-figure, webinar to programs. I have other people who love their one-on-ones, but do, 3 program launches a year. I really think that everyone not only is different, but as you grow and as you up level, it changes. I think, especially in the health and wellness business, sometimes you just get burnt out in one-on-one. And so there has to be what I still believe, 7 income streams. I'm a big believer that you have to have a 2 to 3 work with me because of the buyer personality. Some people just want a single session. They want a jumpstart. I think that you have to do it yourself because that fits the A-type personality.
So one session, just one question before I keep asking questions. Do you have extra 15 minutes so I can then cut the interview into 2 parts? Because I'm really amazing information and I'm enjoying the discussion with you.
I know. My brain, you're asking so many questions and my brain just exploded.
Yeah, you are like Yeah, like when someone writes, they just the information goes like it flows
But
amazingly.
to conclude about the question, just so a coach really understands, this is what's hard, and this is why maybe
No, no,
a lot.
keep going with what we were saying. As long as you have time, we will cut the interview into two parts.
Well, I just finish about the Facebook ads. This is why I don't believe what is being taught right now works, is you have to test. I hate when somebody says to me, I spent 2K to 3K to get this funnel done. And they're only depending. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket. That's not a world we live in. You really have to, if you want to make 6 figures, multiple, whatever you're talking about, and you've got big goals, you have to test out how different people process information. So I am more about running 3 different kinds of ads and having and looking at your budget and making sure that the person you're running ads is keeping you at a $1.50 to $2 click range and not at these higher numbers that I often see, so that you can really make the money. I know a lot of people who make tons of money on tripwires, but they are really strategic on leading them down a path of nurturing and trust building instead of just, you just bought this. I feel like those days are over. You just bought this and you have 24 hours only to do this. That works for some products.
Have you worked with some Facebook ads buyer that you trust and can recommend? Because the problem with this online space is most experts, or like, sorry to say that, full of hot air, like, you know, even especially the Facebook ads buyers, and it just so do you have someone that you can recommend to people?
Yeah, I do actually. And I mean, and that actually happened out of my own pain, because somebody said, oh, your challenge is converting at $4. And I said, what? So the one thing that I actually learned is a lot of Facebook ad managers tell you to do it through your business manager. You should actually do it through your personal. You will actually see about a $2 decrease. And I just think a lot of people call themselves experts and they lead you down wrong paths. And that's why I always say, start in the testing process with yourself. And you will see by even just watching your own personal page analytics, you know, you will find out so much if you just take a step back and breathe. Test out first. You know, everyone's like, oh, do a challenge to this. You have to see what actually works. I stink at converting challenges to webinars. I believe more, go back old school, build trust. Sometimes we say, oh, that stinks at time equity, but look at a guy like Gary Vee. He is the time equity sucker. But you know what? He's all about VIP kind of talk. And I just think we have to really, instead of saying what works the best, for some it's challenges. For some it's Facebook groups. For some it's, you know, webinars. For some it's Facebook ads. The Facebook ads I love are the ones that are unique to your avatar, your target market, their pain. Turn their problem into your profit. Make the very problems your webinar, your opt-in freebie, your social media. Be vulnerable. Go against the grain. Do something that nobody else is doing. And I guarantee you, people will go, oh my God, it's refreshing to see you. You may have to take a breath before you show up and do a Facebook Live, but I'm telling you, you will get clients because other people are not doing that.
You were talking about the different types of offers that you should have on your products page. Let's continue talking about that. So you have one-on-one and one session you mentioned?
So I believe in a 2 to 3 tier work with me page, because you have different types of people. You have a work with me page and you want to, the strategy always is you want to go the highest to the lowest. My strategy has always been a little different. I don't know if it's because I experienced so many health issues myself, but I get someone on the phone and I say, tell me how long it's been since you've had these issues. Let's really figure out what the heck is going on with you. I hate that douchey sales stuff where someone's like, on a scale from 1 to 10, I don't want to be spoken to like a script. So I had a single session because some people just they want to jumpstart. Why leave money on the table when somebody's not, they don't want to ever work with you 3 months.
The session is a call, or a recorded call, or a video call, 1 hour. That's what you call a session?
Single paid session for 60 minutes. Then you have another tier, 30 days. Then you have another tier, 3 months. You could also tier it 1 month, 3 months, 4 months, or 1 month, 2 months, 4 months. Just different tiers based on the different needs of that person, as well as those different ones are going to be like the side of buying a sports package, you know, the mid package to the basic car package. It's going to, you're not just going to say, oh, 2 50-minute sessions and double that. You're going to be like, when you're with me 4 months, we're going to dive into the following. You're getting access to these programs. Be specific on what they're getting. Your conversion rate, mine was 80%. Your conversion rate will triple when you get into specifics. Secondly, have 2 to 3 do-it-yourselves, and that can be on a shop page. Why? People need to some people don't want to just jump in bed with you on a session. A single session is something Brendan Burchard teaches his high-performance coaches because he calls that the gateway entry. And a strategy you can do is if somebody signs up for a single session, because you can say on the phone call, look, I am the real deal. I've been through this. If you want to do this.
How much would you price that for new coaches?
New coaches, most of them are anywhere between $97 to $150. And then I always say, analyze every 30 days, definitely every 3 months, and say, is it time for me to go to the next? I say, if you feel like you are doing 2-hour session notes, you really got to step back and, you know, analyze what you're doing wrong, because you definitely haven't systemized your process with programs, because you're just writing session note after session note.
Go ahead.
You want to make sure that your shop page.
Do it yourself means courses, or what do you mean
Do it
by
yourself
that?
could mean a 14-day program that they could download. It could mean a course. And this is also what's really cool is you get to play into the different buyer personality avatars. It's a win-win. One of my favorite is a masterclass with a little program. So you see that person who likes a little masterclass. You have one, maybe it's a 14-day program. One is a 5-week course. It's 3 different types. And then you get to what? You're testing. So you know when you create your signature flagship, you know exactly where your big money maker is. Last, your online courses or your online programs. You can have a mentorship. You could have a mastery. This is where, because you've tested the verbiage, the copywriting words, this is your money maker. This is when you've taken the big T, the time, because you haven't jumped and spent the $3,000 on the perfect funnel. You haven't invested the $5,000, like I said earlier, on the website, because you've taken, let's breathe, the time to see what people really want. So that's when you're like, hey, I've got this online, course that's 10 steps, because it's feeding into the pain. But all of these are just different opportunities. They're different opportunities. For some of you, you might be in network marketing. Maybe one of them infuses your network marketing. And you might say, well, but Rach, I had a course on the shop. Again, you don't know where this person's going to click on your website. One could be one on weight loss. One could be one on sugar. You're leading them still to the same core branch, the same core, you're still feeding to the same core issues in your niche. It's weight loss or it's digestive health. They're just different topics, because you are still feeding to the different problems, not the solutions, the problems that people have. You're not saying things like, I just want people to feel good. You're saying, I solve problems for people who are struggling with weight loss because they're addicted to sugar. They have no energy and they're struggling in this world of mass information. And I help them with a 3-step process, which is, you know, whatever it is for you. So the more that you get specific based on your offerings, that's really what you do. You're a problem solver. And the more specific you get in your offerings and who you serve, you become the one-stop shopping.
In the products page, how is the membership doing in your health coaches category versus the courses, and do you recommend it for health coaches?
I'll give you just an example instead of even, you know, yada yada even more and going on for another 50 minutes. Many of the coaches that we serve, they will start with a cleanse. They will move to a 4-month program. That's like the mastery, and they will graduate them to a membership. So they always stay in their family. So we have some coaches who their main platform, because maybe one-on-one coaching just didn't work for their personality. And we have a lot of coaches that are like this who maybe they are the kind of coach like me that just invests a lot into their one-on-one coaching. So they just got burned out. And so the membership is a great platform because they can tier it. Tier 1 is the basic. Then they go to a tier 2. I also have a lot of fitness coaches who love it because they do fitness videos, or yoga coaches. I don't think there's a right or wrong when it comes to building your business. It comes down to testing what works. So I always say, test before you massively invest. Where does your membership fit? Your membership can still be another offering. And that could even be on your, you know, online pay, on your online group. You could say, I offer a 14-day cleanse. And if you really want to dive deep with me, join my membership for only $37. 37 by times 100 times 12. We just made $44,400 for the year. Again, guys, it's a numbers game. Play around with what works for you. Sit there. I really encourage you to look at this as a blueprint. I have everyone always make a financial blueprint of their offerings for a month. You say you want to get to 10 grand a month, reverse engineer. How are you getting there? How many discovery sessions do you need to do a week? How many opt-in freebies do you need? How many people are opting into that opt-in freebie? Where are you showing up? Do you need to actually be offline and online? Because sometimes we need to build that offline to get people to our online first. There's not this one blueprint. If there was, guess what? You would have one book. Somebody had asked me, and you had asked me actually, what are my favorite? There's so many marketing books. It's not just in the health and wellness.
What are your top 3?
I love Sell or Be Sold. Some people don't love Grant Cardone, but one thing is, if you don't own selling, you're not going to ever make money. I do love .com Secrets. I love Russell Brunson. Again, you don't have to love these people, but you have to listen. Take in everything from every different person, no matter what.
You've done any courses with Russell about funnels and stuff, or just his books?
I've done more with Ryan Dice, who is my love. Invisible Selling Machine. But you know what? Look, I would say one funnel away, one funnel challenge with Russell. You'll learn so much. I would also say, guys, anything that you can do, like Skillshare and all these great places that are low-cost courses, YouTube.
How can you advise health coaches land more speaking gigs?
Get good at speaking. I mean, I think everyone thinks that you have to buy a $10,000 course to learn how to podcast, to get more speaking gigs. I never asked for any summit that I was asked to be on, but guess why? Guess how they found me. I had so many YouTube videos on digestive health. I showed up every day consistently. When a coach says to me they want to make 10 grand a month, and I say, yeah, I didn't see you show up in these months for social media. Oh, I was on vacation. I don't know. I don't think you're going to be asked to be on a speaking gig.
You have to be consistent, yeah.
You have to be consistent. Pitch to Medium. writefromedium.com, pitch to Mind Body Green, pitch to every place that you can, Thrive Global. And if you think that you're not going to get asked, guess what? You're not going to get asked. Find podcasts that you can be on, because people only ask you to be on by doing that. Every speaking gig that I got, and I've been asked by doctors to speak locally, is because they found me on YouTube. So if you heard me go back to every free thing from, Facebook to different podcasts, it's because you show up and you narrow down the specific topics you're talking about, because you're an expert in that area. I spoke on gut, I spoke on brain, I spoke on, autoimmune, how it affects the gut and brain axis. I spoke on what was easy for me to speak on. So when I earlier, and I just want to clarify this, I'm not telling you to be a jack of all trades. I can do how to detox on the go. My signature 3 PowerPoints, my signature 3 freebies were the 3 pillars of my business. I could speak on those with my eyes closed. And you should be speaking on those areas. But what I'm saying to you is your opt-in freebies are assumptions of what the masses in the world are looking for. So if you're not talking about the core, like the basic benefits, like spirulina will help, pull heavy metals out of your liver. Well, I know that because that was my journey. If you're not owning your story, which I go back to the beginning, and talking about the key points that you had to go through, say goodbye to your business. Go work for somebody, or go work for Walmart in the health food section. That's it. And I'm not trying to say that harshly.
How health coaches can partner with gyms and doctors?
I always say you have to have something tangible. My partnerships with gyms came because I took my computer and I came to them and I said, I see you have a very healthy business. I love it. I love your gym. What you're missing is this, and it's something that I can bring to the table. I can take your business online. I can come to you and I can do a 7-day